Not many people know how haunted most libraries are. Be me. Worked my way up to library manager. Managed 3 libraries thus far. Board of supervisors, district manager, etc. always tell you what's up with your branch shortly after taking the job. Current branch is pretty fucked. Female employees, 90% of the workforce in the field, at my library, suffer the most. Angry noises affect one employee, accuses her teammates of pranks, stomping around, door slamming, men shouting, all while in the bathroom. Another female employee has been locked inside the bathroom with the lights thrown off. Sink turned on when she was in there. Heard her cry for help as staff bathroom is on the other side of the manager's office. Door was locked and required my master key, the only key that can lock that door from the outside. Obviously, I was not responsible and would never do this. Public restrooms are a no-go for my female employees. They are opened and closed by me and me alone. Stalls will slam in sequence. Lights will go on and off. Diaper stations spontaneously fall open. Most libraries keep a second incident report log. This is usually very private and quiet. We know these as unexplained phenomena logs. We are usually county and local government, so staff safety still needs to be ensured. I've had to close the branch one day. County maintenance guy and myself fabricated that the power was lost to the facility. Not true. We flipped the breakers as proof for when my opener arrived. Truth is, it was a mess inside the building. Books were literally everywhere, as if someone with a grudge had broken in. Workstations and service counter a mess of unloaded staplers, pencils broken into dozens of pieces, and our copier bulb was burnt out after running all night. Pages photocopied were of the ceiling above the copier. More it is then. This last winter, 2020, Board of Supervisors decided that operational hours needed to be extended to make up for the doors being closed during the Great Kufening. Geniuses decided that the branch will be open from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Yes, that way we can serve the exactly 0 people wanting books at night, in the snow and the cold. No female employee closes during the winter nights anymore. Our hours have changed to 6 p.m. extended hours. This is that reason why. Week 5 of stupid late night hours. I'm closing with, let's call her Janet. Janet is a really cool employee. Never says no, a great self-starter, and is fun to work with. She has had her own encounters. She's the employee who faces the phantom harassments. Approximately around 7:50 p.m., a snowstorm hits the area. I offer her a ride home as to not endanger her elderly mother, as Janet does not drive. Shortly after hearing the winds and snowfall, a cacophony of noise erupts from the lobby. Slamming, banging, glass shattering, and a deep booming. Janet and I cease our chatting, and I get up to investigate the cause. At the glass doors to the lobby, nothing is of note. The front doors are closed, light is on. I enter the lobby. I've taken about 4 steps from the glass doors to the closed front doors, as the glass doors slam behind me. I turn, expecting to see Janet. She's not there. Turning back towards the front doors, the right wall with our public bulletin board begins dropping flyers one by one. The tacks remain in place. I stare dumbfounded as the bulletin board sheds itself nude. In this lobby, there are 2 doors to the left that are the entrance to our public meeting room. The meeting room doors slammed on their locks, rhythmically. Pound, pause, pound, pause, pound, pause. I jolted at this, but stared in shock, as the blackness in the room is all that could be seen through the door windows. The light in the lobby started to flicker out of sync with the pounding. At this point, I'm finished with this. I've heard things and I've seen things, but this is my first truly wholly unexplained experience in this branch. I make a deliberate walk to the doors leading into the library, and I walk back inside. Janet is not at the customer service desk. I was unnerved by the experience from the lobby, but something about the familiarity of the library interior made her not at the desk okay. She was more than likely just shelving. Sure enough, I hear the squeaking of a book truck. After a single use, they all begin to squeak. So I step into my office to check my emails once more and finish a flyer for a children's program that we were planning for the holidays. As I type, I hear squeaking of the truck, then a pause. I'm thinking that, indeed, Janet is shelving in the stacks somewhere. After about 10 minutes of my working, and the sounds stopping and beginning of the book truck, I decide to go back to the main library and see if Janet needs assistance in finishing. The book truck is right in front of my open office door, completely void of any library materials, placed directly in front of the open space, so that I must move it to venture forward. I move the cart and briskly make a tour through the library. I went through every shelf bay and checked our teen room. I hadn't heard Janet walk by with the book truck, nor had I heard her out on the floor. In a panic, I head for the staff break room, and a sinking feeling washed over me that, potentially, the noises in the library were a distraction from some sort of bad guys who've entered the library through other means. The staff break room lights are off. I turn them on. The small room is empty. I check the back door staff entrance. It's locked. I think of the staff bathroom. I try the handle, and it's locked. I knock. Nothing. I knock harder, saying Janet's name. Nothing. I take the master key, and I unlock the door. Janet is on the floor of the bathroom, crying her eyes out, mascara all over her face. She looks up wide-eyed and grabs me around the waist, absolutely delirious, saying my name and how she was trapped. I bent down to comfort her, asking what the fuck happened. I help her up and we sit at the lunch table. She's shaking as I bring her a box of tissues. When I had gone out to source the noise, she had waited more than 15 minutes for me to return. I stated that this wasn't possible, but she cut me off. She had gotten up to use the bathroom. She did her business, washed her hands, but the towel dispenser didn't work. She tried a few more times, but decided to exit the bathroom and use the towels in the kitchenette. The door wouldn't budge. She tried over and over, but the door was locked. She began pounding the door and yelling my name. Frantic now, she became more and more terrified of her situation. That was when the lights went out on her. She felt around quickly for the switch, but no matter how many times it went up and down, the lights would not come back on. The sound of footsteps echoed on the tile floors. She said it sounded like 3 people were in there with her. This is when she began to cry. She was just waiting for the moment that something or someone would shove her, push her, or run into her. She curled up into a corner, trying to make herself as small as possible. She covered her head, but after just a moment, the footsteps stopped. The sink came to life, gushing water. Then it turned off, gushing water, then off again. On the 3rd time, it began to just drip, each drop becoming louder than the last, until, as she stated, the sound began to hurt her ears. It was then I arrived. When the lock turned over from the key, the lights came back on. I profusely apologized to Janet. However, I had been on the opposite side of the wall, and I heard nothing. I swore if I would have heard her, I would have been there in seconds. Janet was not okay. Of all the instances of these experiences, this had been the worst. She refused to be left alone, and the 2 of us traveled around the building and stayed close. I believed her story, but the time issue was nagging at me. Currently, the time was now 8:20. I had checked my PC clock at my workstation when I returned from the lobby and floor, but my time added up. Something about this was odd and terrifying. With only 40 minutes left of being open, we remained at the service counter watching videos to calm Janet down. Though frightened myself at what she told me, I needed to remain calm and in control for her sake. What happened next still gives me the chills. The ceiling of the library is an enormous labyrinth of beams and crossbars, like a cathedral vaulted ceiling. The beams began to creak and moan, as if a great weight had been placed upon them. "Oh shit, must be the snow," I stated. As I finished the last syllable of snow, I was struck on top of my head. A DVD case had fallen from the beams. I looked up. Nothing there. Janet begins shuddering and sobbing. The creaking and moaning becomes slower and louder. I rose from my seat and beckoned her towards me. The DVD and Blu-ray stacks started to shed materials from them. In ones, twos, and threes, DVD and Blu-rays fall from the shelves. We are done. We're leaving. Quickly, we headed for the back room and grabbed our coats. Making it to my vehicle, I started the engine and drove to the entrance. I locked the doors and we left for the night. I recorded the incident and informed the county library manager of what had transpired. The building was a mess in the morning. In addition to the visual media, the children's picture books, non-fic, and half the adult fic were completely removed from their shelving. I contacted Janet. I asked how she was doing. She was thinking of quitting. She had never felt so helpless, powerless, and worst of all, afraid. To be honest, I begged her to stay. She's a fantastic employee and she still works for me. However, female employees do not close or stay after dark. We do not have a lock on the bathrooms now. A sign that says occupied and vacant is on the outside of the door and needs to be flipped. Obviously, employees must additionally knock. Closing shifts are for male employees only. For some reason, our unexplained phenomena are limited to slamming doors and flickering lights. Library man back with another short story. These goat totems, pig related, were found by the hundreds over the course of weeks throughout the library. We would find them high up above the shelf bays, hidden behind books, squeezed in between shelving units, under the children's globe, etc. Orchestrated a hunting party each morning to locate as many as possible. In one day, my team employees came with a small tub filled with maybe 80 of the cursed things. The team began to worry, as this is unusual and disturbing. Just more nonsense we go out of our way to ignore. We set a watch and patrol during operational hours. Keep an eye out for anyone tall to reach high. Looking for someone bending down, reaching up, moving slowly through the shelf bays. We do this every 10 minutes for weeks. Still, every morning, we find these stupid things. And this continues for an exact month. We never identified anyone, especially someone frequent, who could be considered a culprit. I present to the district manager a copy paper box filled with the hundreds of the goat totems. We dispose of these. With the building being strange, let's assume the insidious. And one day, they just stop. We found them all and disposed of them. Being librarians, we're good at getting information. These goat totems are from a German beer. They should have a little red text saying on the bottom, celebration. And each and every totem had this scraped off. Where would someone in this rural town be importing German beer in such vast amounts in a dry county, in a state where it is illegal to ship alcohol? Additionally, these were never placed during the day, as for a monitored fact. We would find them in the morning. Pig attached is the sole surviving piece of evidence of this event. Library man, new story. This is about my visit to the most extreme rural branch, located in a once beautiful mountainous part of the state. However, an enormous wildfire ruined the area about a decade ago. Most of what was captivating has not grown back, and many of the summer cabiners have never returned because of the state of the place. This branch serves less than 75 people and is 54 miles from the nearest town. Being young, lucky at times, but busting my ass and paying attention, I became the youngest library manager in my state, with only 4 years experience and a bachelor's degree. I had some great bosses who showed me how a great library looks, runs, programs, and staffs. District manager is impressed with my 4 months at my current branch, begs me to do the same at this far-off rural branch the best I can, in 3 days' time. This rural branch is staffed almost entirely by a single volunteer, who is over 80. It is, however, funded and paid for by the county, as dictated by the Board of Supervisors. I agree to do my best. I'm always thirsty for the next thing to flex on my resume. I do, however, request to take on an additional employee with me. It'll be hard work, and the extra hands will be needed. I take my most loyal, reliable, and trusted employee, and let's just call him DK. DK is a turbo autist. He's also 6'8". He will talk for hours about World of Warcraft, a game that ceased being relevant a decade ago. I don't know how fucking disconnected you are with the internet, my guy, but that is far from true. And a game that no one has played in that time as well. I affectionately refer to his positioning as being chief of security at my branch. He never says no, he craves my approval, but he's a hard worker. We arrived day 1, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Overtime, so I'm excited to be here to say the least. We reorganize the collection, clean each filthy item with wipes, make room for adult programming, throw out an entire backroom worth of useless trash. However, this remote branch is quite creepy, even during the day. It was built entirely upon community donations, and it looks like it. Aluminum sliding exterior, small square almost bathroom windows, 9 feet off the ground, and only 6 of them. The entire facility is no larger than most American living rooms, and no restrooms. Outside, the forest fire was stopped about 20 feet before it could consume the library. It sits deep in the narrow valley, and about 1.5 miles away from the main lodge that used to attract tourists. It is pretty much the end of the line. No cabin survived the blaze past the library, which used to be in what could be called the center of this tiny town. DK was eager to drive and show off his skills. To complete his turbo autist life, his mother purchased him a Jeep Commander, complete with what must be a 20-inch lift, enough lights to see from orbit, and a powered winch which I assumed was for his inevitable tumble off of a cliff. This vehicle would be our transport, and if I can sit back and relax and have dinner, I don't mind being chauffeured around the county. Night 2 comes and goes. However, we end up finding that a shelving unit has absolutely molded and needs to be trashed. DK power. I open the doors until the night, and with DK hauling this massive thing with ease, help him load it into the Jeep Commander. There's something a little morose about an area ravaged by fire. There are no insects, no birds, no bats, and no deer. Once upon a time, deer would graze in the nearby meadow and create a serene, picturesque setting. Now, it felt like we were on some sort of gray moon, complete with Halloween spooky trees. As we slam the hatch closed, we start crunching to gravel back towards the building. However, another noise in this absolutely silent area makes us turn instantly. Deep in the burned and blackened stick forest to the right, we hear a long, sad cry. It started soft, but it ended with a yelp. DK and I continued to look in the direction of the noise, expecting it to continue, or at least start again. Nothing happens. Well, that sounded how I feel. Let's leave, it's late, I say to DK. DK agrees, but starts to ramble and rant about a video game. He often does this when he's nervous. Honestly, I thought that sound could have been anything, and it didn't matter. My own library has its own strangeness, and at this point, I had become desensitized to just about anything. We have our dark drive in peace, and after a while, I've stopped hearing about the new expansion to the video game, and how bad it apparently is. Night 3. This is a small county. There are no local law enforcement agencies. The sheriff's department services this huge area, and there's only 6 deputies. Luckily, one deputy, let's just call him Alex, hangs out in the small town at night. Deputy Alex flirts, or creeps, with an underage girl, whose parents own the lodge. I will say it is consensual. However, he learned that I knew. So, we had an agreement. I say nothing, look the other way, and in exchange, Alex just doesn't happen to notice my Volkswagen speeding by daily going 85 and 90 in a 55 highway on my hour commute. DK and I hit the McDonald's on the highway for dinner before we cruise to the library. As we drive the winding road, sure enough, Alex's sheriff's department SUV is parked out front of the lodge. We pull in front of the library and finalize the job. I set about finishing the brochures, flyers, and website. DK is now doing some deep cleaning. Halfway through the night, we hear a scraping noise. I jolt up from my daze, and DK looks over quickly to the source. The aluminum sliding on the wall next to me sounds as if something large is dragging itself against it. The sound continues until it slows, diminishes, and suddenly dissipates, exactly like something was rubbing against it. Huh, Sounds like a deer, or something, needed a butt scratcher, DK said with a chuckle. I laugh as well, until we hear the same thing against the wall behind me. Same pattern, same gait of stride, faster this time. Then, the wall over by DK. Huh, I say. DK grabs a stool and attempts to peer out of one of the tiny, small, and high-up windows. The front door creaks from weight. The front door, the only way in and out of this shack. The front door, that is not locked. Instantly, I leap from my chair and dive for the door. I throw the lock on the handle. I back up, expecting the door to just start pounding in, and the handle to be tried. Nothing. DK climbs down from the stool. Hey, Anon? I didn't see anything, man. Do you think someone's trying to get in? Like a patron sees out lights and thinks we're open? Maybe, I replied. This entire county is crawling with weirdos. Let's call Alex. I trailed off, interrupted by the scraping against the first wall, where the noise first came from. It was faster this time. It cleared the first wall, followed by the second, in sequence. Alright, fuck this, I exclaimed. I'm gonna call Alex. See if you can see whoever the fuck is out that window. Leroy! DK begins. Please, no man, just get up there and take a peek, I said. 911 dialed. Blank blank County Sheriff Department, Deputy Alex speaking, what is your emergency? Alex, I say between the scraping noise, speaking loudly now to hear myself over the harsh metallic shrieks. Anon here with the blank blank County Library District. Hey, we're over here at blank Public Library. Do you hear this? Something's outside and scraping against the sliding. It's been messing with us for a few minutes now. We got the door locked. Can you please get over here and take a look? Though a creep, I appreciated his response and professionalism. Hang tight. I'll be there in 2 minutes. Don't go near the door. I'll have my lights on. We hang up. DK, see anything? No response from my chief of security. He's just staring out the window. DK, do you see anything? Yeah. Like, there's this, super tall black thing that kinda looks like the trees. Then I saw the top of something's head go by a second ago. DK moans out. My palms are sweating at this point. What the fuck? Alex will be here in a second. I'm sure he'll see it and give it the business. The sounds stop. Fatally, we hear a siren. Red and blue lights begin to illuminate through the windows. Car door slams. Crunching gravel. Flashlight beam mixes with the red and blue. Door pounds 3 times with a knock. Anon! Deputy Alex here, you in there? Yeah, we're in here. Want me to open up? I shout. A small pause. Yeah. We're clear out here. But, what's happened here? DK and I exit the library, and outside, we see what he's seeing. The aluminum is scraped as if it was metal on metal. Deep, light, and medium gouges reflect in the flashlight. I look down. Tracks circling the small building are in a line. Alex looks down and shines the light. 3 toe tracks, almost like a bird, are visible. What the fuck? Alex asks us what we're doing. We explain. Asks us if we'd seen anyone, seen anything strange, or heard anything. No, and no. Goes to his SUV, takes his report log, starts filling it out, asks for my ID. The squad SUV is parked 6 feet from the building. DK's Jeep Commander is parked to the right, closer to the burned woods, about 30 feet away. As DK and I keep looking around, and Alex is making his report, we all hear it. Very close, very loud. If you've ever seen the movie The CGI Beowulf film, with the sexy golden dragon lady, you might remember the Grendel character, and the sound he made when he heard loud noises. Like this irritated whining noise. We hear something similar to that. It is accompanied by exasperated breaths and wheezing. It's coming from over by the Jeep Commander. Alex unholsters his weapon, dropping his log papers. Hands up where I can see them, Alex commands. In the chill of the night, steam is rising from under the Jeep. Something is breathing heavily under it. Gravel is swirling, and with a flashlight, a shadow can be seen under it. Sheriff's Department, hands out slowly. Let me see your hands. Show me your hands now, he commands again. The gravel stops swirling. The steam sighs out from under the vehicle. Alex approaches, but only slowly. DK's Jeep Commander begins to slide to the left. A slow, dragging slide, as the vehicle was slightly lifted as well. The breathing and steam was chugging like a steam locomotive. The car alarm is now wailing. Here's this huge vehicle being lifted and dragged from underneath, moving slowly towards the tree line. Alex was stunned at this point. Weapon still pointed and drawn. He watched intently with the two of us. After a few seconds, he discharges his weapon into the dirt below the Jeep Commander. The vehicle drops and ceases to move. A gangly arm grabs the step platform on the driver's side of the Jeep Commander, and to me, it looked like a burnt tree, blackened with an alligator pattern, and it has 3 fingers. The hand retreated as suddenly as it appeared. The vehicle tilted towards us and lifted, as a tall shadow appeared on the other side of the vehicle. Again, just like DK described, like the top of a tree, only blackened. It sprinted towards the black trees, police lights turning and flashing in red and blue, car alarm still blaring, pistol muzzle smoking. We all stood there, in shock. What happened next was your standard, "What the fuck, what was that? Did you see that?" etc., etc., etc. The report was filed, and DK and I gave our testaments. It was not made public. District manager was informed. I was questioned as well, and DK and I were told to never speak about this, unless asked by a sheriff or the district manager. Sliding was sanded down to hide the scratches, and within 2 months, the county announced we would no longer be financially supporting this branch. It would no longer be a part of the county. This was probably the only physical sighting direct incident with the unexplained I've ever had. If I had to guess, based off of other testimonies here on X, I think the thing was some sort of tree creature that got caught up in the blaze. I think it lived in constant pain. I think our lights at the library caught its attention, but ultimately, I think it was afraid of us. Maybe it wasn't before Deputy Alex arrived, but it tried to hide and then escaped. Never heard anything about it or like it ever since.